once it's fully realized, right? Once power is going to define a relationship, and you can think of it like this, right? Right? Time. So the occupation movement, this is sort of conceptually, I wish I had like great animator friends that can animate all of this crap. It would be awesome, right? So we have occupy here, little tiny movement. We have existing monolithic structure here. Well, actually, we'll make it a bad guy, right? So it'll be red. Green is good, red's bad. Right? So we have the monolithic structure here. Occupy wants that spot on the social nexus, so it's fighting, and they are trying to depose. They're trying to prevent the Occupy movement from taking its position. Occupy movement, however, because of my video lectures, because of social protests, because of a whole bunch of stuff, gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and now this Occupy movement is really big. It can really contend. The Occupy movement then takes the position. It wins. And now the Occupy movement is here. Insofar as it's here, the smaller groups that were there before want to depose the Occupy movement. The Occupy movement gradually starts to turn red, from green to red. Gradually starts to turn. Gradually starts to turn. Gradually starts to turn. The Occupy movement is now all red as it was before. It wants to suppress economic challengers. New economic challengers want to vie for that position. This new movement grows. It grows, it grows, it grows, it grows. It's strong enough to challenge what is now the old status quo Occupy movement. This new challenger takes the position. New challenger comes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So you get the idea. You get the idea. Okay. Number 3. Number 3. Quote from Foucault: "There is no binary. There is no binary, either or, black, white, good, bad, moral, immoral. Right? There is no binary and all-encompassing opposition between rulers and ruled at the root of power relations." First of all, people don't like talking about those who have. We're not just talking. We're talking like ridiculously wealthy transnational corporations and individuals. We don't like thinking of them as rulers. So I'm not going to use the word rulers because people just don't like that. But I'm a philosopher. I don't really care if someone wants to say, you know, they're the ruler of the world. I watched enough G.I. Joe to know that every young boy aspires to be the ruler of the world, right? The whole point is, this is a direct quote from Foucault, there is no binary and all-encompassing opposition between rulers and the ruled at the root of power relationships. That's false. That's not what it's at stake, right? No such duality extending from the top and reacting on more and more limited groups to the very depths of the social body. I love that idea of the social body. One must suppose rather that the manifold relationships of force relationships, the manifold force relationships that take shape and come into play in the machinery of production. Machinery of production is approximately synonymous with the means of production, right? The machinery of production are the basis for wide-ranging effects of cleavages that run through the social body as a whole. Right? The social body as a whole, as a structure, as a body, has manifold relationships of parts. The brain being sort of the center of the relationship. I look at my coffee, I know I have a dry throat, I want to take a swig of my coffee. My brain sent signals to my hand, I grabbed it, I drank, da da da. All controlled. But there's relationships between all the various parts of my body. It is not about, as he says, it's not about the top of my body being more important than the bottom of my body, my brain being more important than my feet, my hands being more important than my arms. The idea is the organization that this framework has. What runs as a cleavage in sort of a viral sense, right? What has the potential to infect my body, right? A wide range of cleavages that run through the social body as a whole. And what does he say is that potential? The manifold relationships of force that take shape and come into the play of the machinery of production, right? There is a sense in which the social body is a machine. It produces machinery of production. It's not just that the social body produces things that can be sold. The social body produces institutions. The social body produces a sentiment. The social body produces an affiliation. The social body produces basically everything that isn't sort of like the gravitational constant. Everything, in a sense, is socially constructed. And I actually think there's a book called The Social Construction of Everything. Right? Everything is socially constructed. So think about the creative force of the social body. Right? The social nexus, I'll use reading this time because it's in my hand. The social nexus is the productive, P-R-O-D-U-C-T, the productive and the creative force. It is a productive and creative force of society, right? It is a productive and creative force of society. Yes, I'm a lecturer. Yes, I'm an academic. No, I can't draw to save my life. No, I can't play instruments to save my life. But I don't approach my lectures, I don't approach this necessarily as an academic. I try as best as possible. I really do try to approach these lecture series artistically, creatively. I mean, I'm very limited in what I can do, but I try to approach it artistically, creatively, interactively, to try and hybridize and blend the virtual social with the physical social, right? And what Foucault is saying is that it's not this binary, it's not this either or, right? It's not the case, I'm going to use red, it's not the case that when we talk about power, power isn't this distribution between the haves and the have-nots. This is wrong. This is wrong. The Occupy movement is wrong in this regard. It's not accurate to describe the relationship as the haves and have-nots. It oversimplifies, it generalizes to the point of fallacy the relationship between the 99% and the 1% to say that it is merely defined in terms of an antagonistic relationship. It's all bankers, it's all financial people. Yahoo had, I think yesterday, I read Yahoo News basically every morning, a couple times a day. I log on to Yahoo, I'm reading news, and it was like, what's the social demographic of the 1%? And I think the vast majority of them were, not the vast majority, but a huge segment of them were medical professionals. So medical professionals took up a lot. They had, what were the other things? It was medical professionals, bankers took up less, CEOs obviously dominated. But you would think that it's all finance, it's all Wall Street. It's false. It's false, right? It's also false to think it's all economic and business. The whole beginning of the lecture series as a critique of science being co-opted as a means of production exclusively, I'm not saying that it is, I'm saying it has a potential to become, that is also problematic. It's not this simple binary either or, black or white, haves and have-nots relationship. It's far more complex. This is a great little catchy slogan, and I'm glad that this idea of the haves and have-nots hopefully led you to me, but now I'm going to give you more information so that you can take that back to your protests and your rallies, so that when you go to your protests and your rallies, now your protests and rallies are going to be motivated by a deeper understanding of what you are actually a part of. You are something that is far more important than us versus them. Haves versus have-nots, 99 versus 1. It's far bigger than that. It is far bigger than that. It is demeaning to the occupation movement to think that the movement is simply a movement about this. It is not binary. It is good that you believed at one point that it was binary because it's led you hopefully to a deeper meaning, a deeper sense of truth. Not that what I'm saying is the absolute truth, right? But what I want you to recognize is that for Foucault, this is not me, this is Foucault, right? For Foucault, it's not about these binary relationships, it's about this, right? It's about, in an almost like Nietzschean sense, right? It's about a recognition that let's just say conceptually, one force relation is, and you can think of this on an atomic level, right? You can think of this on a neurological level. You can think of this on a celestial level, right? You can think of this on a social level. The interrelationship between each component part. The parts, however, aren't physical, tangible parts that can be shared, that can be held and possessed and lost, right? The parts, quote unquote, are relationships, force relationships, this virtual relationship. Right now I'm having a physical relationship with my HD flip, which is weird when you say it like that, right? I am really in a different cognitive space because I can't have a physical relationship with my HD flip. I am having what will subsequently be a virtual relationship with you, the viewer, right? This creates this established relationship, right? This established relationship between me and the virtual you, between the real you and the virtual me, right? If you think about that, that is sort of trippy, right? It is at all times emergent. It is at all times emergent. It's not this binary relationship. So now when we think about the Occupy movement in this term and not this term, we recognize that the Occupy movement is going to dominate other movements. We recognize that the Occupy movement is going to be potentially dominated by other movements. We recognize that the Occupy movement is going to be in a perpetual state of flux until it really weaves itself into the social nexus. And the whole point of the series is to try and help it weave itself into the social nexus by recognizing its power, right? So synthesis, power should not be conceptualized in terms of some arbitrary binary division, right, or opposition. This is false. Power must be understood as a manifold relationship of force that shapes our social reality, right? A manifold relationship of force. The fact that I'm an educator, the fact that I'm, at this moment in my life, young, the fact that I am uploading videos probably faster than you can watch it, all of this is to establish a relationship, right? It's for you to take me seriously, and it's for me to take you seriously, which is why I always say I really want to thank you for watching my videos, right? I can't expect you to take me seriously if I sort of throw a half-assed lecture together and I'm sort of just like, hey, what's up? Let's talk about, that'd be cool. That'd be cool for YouTube. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But I want you to know that I put a lot of time, a lot of effort into preparing this stuff to give it away to you for free, not because I want to be seen, but because I recognize that I'm in a position. There was a position that was open. And what I did as a person was I jumped into that slot. I jumped into that slot and I said, I want to be the guy on a global level that's pumping out real good, credible academic information. And I recognize that other institutions are doing that. But it's not about them. We're not in competition. It's about me trying to establish myself, not for the sake of some egomaniacal look at me, but for the sake of what better way to get information out to the population, to educate, to transform literally people's lives for the better, than to sacrifice my own personal time, my own personal life, right? To say, when it's all said and done, Dr. Campbell, he gave everything he had, right? The Occupy movement can be that. The Occupy movement is I'm getting like emotional. Like the Occupy movement can be that. It really can be that. It can be the thing that says, no, we're going to revolutionize social movements, all social movements. As a shout out to Pipla People, right? Pipla People killed it. I love the relationship I have with these virtual people. Pipla People in a Nietzsche series says, the new artistic piece of art establishes itself within the aesthetic and transforms the way you interpret everything that came before it. I think the Occupy movement, as far as social theory is concerned, at worst, which is amazing, at worst could spawn a whole new approach to social theory. Virtual, social nexus, hybridized with the physical social nexus. It can transform how we think about social theory for generations to come. What a powerful moment in time to be an academic, to say, wow, I was one of the first people to jump on this and really try and give it the best that I can, because I see the potential in that movement. this movement can transform how we interact with each other on a global scale. Global, coordinated, mobilized population. Oh my goodness. Think of the power. Think of the power, right? So that power is not, it's not just haves and have-nots. It's not this simple. It's what I just said. It's all of that. It's all of that. Last note to end this section, to say simply that the Occupy movement is against Wall Street or against the feds is wholly unproductive. It's a waste of time. And I agree with John Paul Prime on that. It's a complete waste of time. The movement must see itself as a locus of force that will emanate social transformation. It will emanate social transformation. Let's get married. Let's build our houses. Let's feed each other. Let's transform our educational system. Let's do that, right? It's not just about Wall Street. It's definitely not about the feds. At its deepest level, the nature of that transformation will depend on the nature of the movement. I'm trying to help shape the movement as best as I can with my little feeble videos. The movement will affect change and be affected by change. So with that, I want to conclude this section of my Occupy Wall Street movement and an introduction into social theory. I really do want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell. Have a good day.